Okay, verify the identity. I might stay longer time in this video to explain something. So look at the given here. 1 over 1 plus cosine x minus 1 over 1 minus cosine negative x. We need to prove that this left side equals right side, which is negative 2 cotangent x cosecant x. So first, you're going to look at the negative angle here. Cosine of negative means we try to recall odd and even functions. Odd and even function. So we know that, or we have to know that sine of negative x, cosine of negative x, and tangent of negative x. And it would be applicable to the inverse or reciprocal. Reciprocal of sine is cosecant, and reciprocal of cosine is secant, and reciprocal of tangent is cotangent. You're gonna know that the only even functions, which is cosine, even functions, how it evens. Cosine of negative x equals positive cosine x, and secant of negative x equals positive of secant x. This is even function. But we have sine and tangent are odd functions. Means sine of negative x must be negative sine of x. And here is reciprocal, which is cosecant of negative x equals negative of cosecant x. And we have the same here. Tangent of negative x equals negative tangent x. Cotangent of negative x equals negative of cotangent x. Make sure you copy notes here. Those functions are odd. Okay. We erase that and we go back to our question. Here. Let's prove that left side equals right side. Here it is. So we're going to copy 1 over 1 plus cosine x minus 1 over 1 minus cosine of negative is positive cosine. So keep it cosine of x. Okay? That's left side. Keep working on left side till we make sure that left equals right by the end. Think about next step. If you have fraction, okay, and nothing to do but having the common denominator. The common denominator, which is we multiply 1 plus cosine times 1 minus cosine. Let's do that here. So the common denominator for that will be 1 plus cosine x times 1 minus cosine x. And as we learned before, we try to cross 1 times 1 minus cosine x, and we cross negative 1 times 1 plus cosine x. Let's do that here. So it will be 1 times 1 minus cosine is 1 minus cosine x. And then negative 1 times 1 plus cosine, negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. And negative 1 times cosine is negative cosine. Let's simplify more. To simplify more, look at numerator and we see that 1 cancel out negative 1. And we just have negative cosine and negative cosine. Negative cosine minus cosine is negative 2 cosine x. Good? Look at denominator, 1 plus cosine times 1 minus cosine x. Remember the opposite of the difference between two squares. Okay, so 1 plus cosine times 1 minus cosine, you need just to multiply 1 times 1 is 1, and cosine times negative cosine is negative cosine. No midterm here, because if you multiply cosine, positive cosine times 1 is cosine, and negative cosine times 1 is negative. They will cancel each other, so nothing here in the middle. You multiply 1 times 1 is 1, and cosine times negative cosine is negative cosine squared. Once you see, please do remember that. When you see 1 minus cosine square, just replace sine square for all. Let's repeat that again. Look, 1 minus cosine square equals sine square. That's from the basic identity that we know, which is sine square plus cosine square equals 1. And the same, 1 minus sine square equals cosine square. Remember that. Okay? Good. So we keep working on the left side. Keep negative 2 cosine x divided by 1 minus cosine square x, and we decided to replace it with replace sine square with it, so it will be sine square here, sine square of x. Replace again, I don't want you to confuse, sine square instead of 1 minus cosine, so you replace sine over here, sine square. Always look at right side. Look at right side. What we have here, clear we have negative 2. And right side we have here negative 2. But we don't have cotangent and we don't have cosecant. But we could do it. We have sine square. Think about that. If you see sine square and nothing in your right side, nothing square in your right side, we don't have cotangent square or cosecant square, so we decide right away to split sine square. So it will be negative, let's do it with negative 2 cosine x. This is our numerator, divided by, instead of saying sine square, it will be sine times sine. Good? Trust me, we are very close. How? Look at cosine and sine. If you divide it, will be what? If you divide cosine by sine, will be what? I hear you. Will be what? Cotangent. Wow. Happy now. And look at this. Sine is not in the top and the bottom in denominator. So if we imagine that we have 1 over here, it doesn't hurt the equation. 1. 1 over sine. What's reciprocal of sine? I hear you. It's cosecant. Looks like we're finishing our problem now. So let's organize it. So write negative 2. And then write cosine under sine. Write sine under cosine. So it will be cosine x divided by sine x. And write 1 over sine x. Good. So keep negative 2. And cosine over sine will be what? Cotangent. If you start with cosine, then will be cotangent. And 1 over sine, which is reciprocal, it will be cosecant. This is our left side. And this is our right side. Both are the same, so you could say left side equals right side. You prove it.